Welcome to the Woodpreneur podcast, the number one podcast for the business and marketing side of the lumber, woodworking, hardwood flooring, and sawmill industry. I'm your host, Steve from Acres of Timber. Each week, we feature various wood business owners and entrepreneurs from around the globe. We share their stories, paths, insights so that you can network, learn, and grow your own wood business. Thank you so much for listening. Now enjoy the episode. The Woodpreneur podcast is proudly sponsored by Acres CRM. Acres CRM is the wood industry's only customer relationship management software dedicated to helping you automate your sales and marketing so that you can focus on serving your customers and growing your business. You can visit acresoftimber.com to learn more and to schedule a demo. Once again, that's acresoftimber.com. Hey, welcome to a brand new episode of the Woodpreneur podcast. This is your host, Steve. Today's guest is Landon Knopf from LK Custom Woodworks. How you doing?
Good, Steve. How are you doing?
Good, man. Hey, so why don't you tell everybody about your business? What is it?
I am LK Custom Woodworking. I do fine woodworking. I'm more so doing finished carpentry at the moment. The finished carpentry and woodworking have kind of always gone hand in hand, just as I accumulate more tools doing the finished carpentry and they kind of have scrap materials, then those scrap materials tend to turn it into woodworking or furniture pieces. So yeah.
That's cool. And what kind of finished stuff were you building mainly?
So I started in high school doing construction. That was kind of everything, but I got a lot of really good basics down doing that. My parents built a cabin down in southern Missouri where kind of like where it all started. They built a cabin. I was in college at the time. Me and my dad decided that we were going to finish the entire interior of the cabin ourselves. And, with that, I was able to accumulate all these tools because it was kind of my idea. I was like, hey, Dad, I have the experience. We can do this. You can help me. We'll be able to knock it out. And in doing so, I was able to get all the tools, not necessarily mine, but they were available to me. He wasn't really using them after the fact. And then we had all this leftover lumber, whether that be building materials or we did oak from a local sawmill throughout the entire cabin on the floors. We didn't get it, tongue and groove or milled up. We just had it square, basically just S4S oak planking. I screwed it down, looked really great, rustic, left all the plater marks, turned out really good, but we had a bunch of that left over. And then, and having all that leftover oak, and now I have all the tools, I was like, well, I need a desk or I need a nightstand or I'm going to start making cutting boards. And I kind of just started making that stuff. And then my mom was like, oh, I want a cutting board. And then her friends were like, oh, I want a cutting board. And it kind of just turned into this like side hustle throughout college where I was making stuff for people whenever they'd come to me with it. I wasn't necessarily seeking it out, but it just kind of found me and I really enjoyed doing it. So anytime I had a chance, I was kind of all in on that.
It's nice pocket change, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's a great way to like get more tools too. It's so easy to justify buying a tool if you're selling something and it's buying itself. So
yeah, it's actually more than pocket change and it's more than lunch money. It's like, it's pretty good.
yeah, absolutely. Like, it's a tangible income, especially the more you work, the more you make.
Yeah.
It is really awesome.
I also love the idea, like I was just over Thanksgiving, I got a bunch of texts from people and they were showing me pictures of the stuff that I made for them. And
I love
like,
that.
it's
Yeah.
kind of amazing, isn't it? It's like a
It's the
great feeling.
best.
Like this selfish way of saying like, oh, I'm literally in people's homes. People are thinking of me.
Yeah,
Wow.
like your brand is in people's houses and, they're like, oh, that's a nice cutting board. Where'd you get that? Like, oh, I know a guy.
I know a guy. Yeah. And he custom made it for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So before we hopped on, I was like, you were saying how you're fairly new and tell me about, I guess, where are you at with your business right now?
So I'm actually in Fort Collins, Colorado. So I'm in the process of saving money. I just bought 10.6 acres in Missouri,
You moving back home?
paid cash for it. I'm all about no debt. So I bought that in Missouri. I plan to build myself like a house on it. So it'll be half house, half shop. But to, take a step back, I'm in Fort Collins to save up more money. I have a set goal that I want to get to. Plan to get there by March, and then I'll start building myself a house. But I'm in Fort Collins. I'm living at my aunt and uncle's house while I'm remodeling it. So it's a live-in remodel, super hectic, not efficient, but it's looking really good. It's getting very close to done. I probably have another month or so of work, But yeah, just not paying any rent, not paying very much money, just everything is going into the savings. And, the goal is to have a certain amount of money for the house. It is acres of timber. It is 10 acres of solid oak, hickory, red and white.
Yeah.
And I plan to use that wood for the business. So once the house is built, I'm going to be going full into the whole woodworking thing, and really start ramping that up.
Where's this house going to be in Missouri? Like, are you near any?
So I am kind of right smack in the middle of the state. If you've ever heard of the show, Ozark, Lake of the Ozarks, that's where I grew up at. My parents live in Lebanon. I went to high school at the lake. It's kind of right in the middle of Lebanon and Camdenton. So it's not super close to any
Is it a
cities.
big population?
No, pretty small towns. The lake sees tons of visitors. It's a huge tourist destination. I think my biggest client would potentially be people that just bought a new house on the lake and, $1 million lake house, and they want to furnish it with nice furniture.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I'm a local guy bringing, materials from the area. So,
So that the plan is to have your house. Never heard of that before.
really,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So if we have a house, and what do you want to be selling?
so, just fine furniture. I'm kind of open to anything, but I want to be working with wood, not plywood, obviously not MDF.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
If it's made out of solid wood, I'll build it. Big,
Mhm.
small. I'd rather kind of be into the bigs. Obviously, everybody loves building tables. Everybody loves building coffee tables,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
dressers, in tables. I'm into all that. I think getting started, I want to find a product that I can sell consistently. I feel like cutting boards are maybe a little oversold. There's just tons of competition and tons of people selling
Yeah,
them.
yeah. Well, here's just one thing to think about, and this is for everybody that's listening. It's like the smaller you make a product, the more of them you have to make in order for you to actually make a living. So, I mean, people do. There's like this couple online, they sell like 1,000 cutting boards, right? Like that to me sounds like a factory and a job, and like literally
Yes.
no diss to them, and it works for them. I am pushing people towards, if you have the skills to do a high ticket product, table, let's say on the lowest end is a coffee table, 2,500. If you have a table, 5 to 10, pour some epoxy, depending on your brand, you can get higher, right? The holy grail, which you kind of didn't say, but you kind of did, was you do remodeling and carpentry.
Yeah.
Like, you have that skill, and that's probably on the higher end. Like, how much you getting paid for this remodel in Fort Collins?
So I'm actually on a cost plus. So I'm basically just, they pay for my time and I
Yeah.
have their credit card, which is awesome. I just pay for materials as needed.
Sure.
We trust each other because we are
Sure.
family.
Sure.
That doesn't necessarily work.
How much would you have charged? Just ballpark. Ballpark. How much would you have charged for something like that?
So I'm saving them money, but I think they would have probably paid over $100,000 for the remodel. Fort Collins is super expensive.
Of course.
I've either been around the same price.
And it's going to be competitive with anybody that's out there on the market, right?
Right. Yeah. Like everybody in the area is around the same price. Like just to do the paint and the trim in their house. And I just happened to be passing through the day after they signed a contract for somebody to redo all the paint and all the trim in their house. They told me what they had signed the contract for. And they were like, oh, we should have asked you. And they told me the price they were going to pay, which was like $19,000 for paint and trim.
So
And
the
I
whole
was like,
job would have been about 100 grand.
I think so. And that includes, paint, trim, refinishing all the windows, refinishing all the doors, refinishing
Yeah.
the kitchen cabinets, tile in the entryway, tile in the
Yeah.
laundry room, splash,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
name it. I've sanded it or refinished it in this house. And
Do you have skills like, do you know how to use like SketchUp or any of those types of design type
yeah,
stuff?
so I actually went to college to be a mechanical engineer. A lot of woodworkers out there are ex or currently engineers, and I kind of decided throughout the whole process of graduating, and I took a summer to be a whitewater rafting guide, not very woodworking related. But in that, I decided that I don't want to work for a business. I want to work for myself. I've always been good at working for myself, and
Yeah.
having that freedom of kind of making my own decisions and working where I want just kind of gave me the idea. It's like, I just want to start my own business. I don't necessarily want to do the whole mechanical engineering thing, which is, totally fine. I could have gone that route, saved money that way. But I've just learned so much doing it the way that I've been doing it rather than kind of jumping in and not knowing as much as I will know when I do start the business more full time.
Yeah. What does MAE stand on your Instagram? What does that mean?
That's just mechanical engineering is what that stands for.
Oh, okay, good.
Mechanical and aerospace engineering.
Okay.
So,
It's like
trust me with your product. I
sure.
sort of know what I'm doing. I'm good at figuring stuff out. That's what the
You have
degree
a
is.
bachelor's or you have a master's or?
Bachelor's. Yep. I went to Mizzou, University of Missouri.
Okay, cool. So you're a smart dude. You have a technical background. You have higher end skills. You know how to build basically anything, or you could figure it out. The design. Okay, where do you want to be in a year? So we're talking December 1, 2023. By March, you will have moved back home on your land. You're building your house. What are you going to do with the business?
So I would love to have the house built by next year. That would be awesome. I plan on being involved in every part of the process because I want to do it debt free. So I'm basically saving for materials. I'm not saving for labor. I plan to do
You're
it
going to
all
do the work
myself.
yourself? Okay.
Yeah. So I plan to do concrete framing, basically from concrete to cabinets. I plan to do it all. So once I have the actual shell built for the house, I plan to also furnish it. So I want to build the cabinets. I want to build all the furniture. Obviously, I'm going to do all the finish work inside. I would love to, as I'm building that furniture, and this gives me lots of creative freedom, as I'm building the furniture for the house, try to sell it. So rather than build one at a time, maybe I'm building two or three at a time. So that was kind of one of the questions for you. Like, what would be the best way to market those pieces as I'm building them to, potentially sell them? And if they don't sell, it's no big deal because I'm going to be putting it in the house.
All right. So you want to know what I would absolutely do? It sounds like you have your heart set on how this is going to get done.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know it's going to change. No, absolutely.
My whole thing is like, how are you going to make money? While you're putting all of that time in, how are you going to make money? Right? Because when you do everything yourself and you are trying to save everything yourself, and this is not just for you, Landon, but this is for the whole Woodpreneur community, the whole Woodpreneur community. There's this mindset is I need to be debt free. No, I don't want to borrow any money. I want to do all the work myself. There's literally, and meanwhile, dude, I'm in rooms with millionaires and they're like, yeah, I'm borrowing this
Don't
money.
do any, yeah, don't do any of the work myself.
Right? Like, did you ever read the book? You should, and everybody should read. It's called Losing My Virginity by Richard Branson. Right?
Okay, yeah, I haven't read it, but
dude,
I'll look into
Richard
it.
Branson, you know who he is, Virgin, right?
I don't know.
Virgin Music, Virgin Air, Virgin Airlines, Virgin Hotels, the whole Virgin, like $1 billion
brand. Yeah.
But he borrowed his way to being a billionaire. He literally borrowed his way. There's no nobility in saying, I saved everything myself. What you actually do is hold yourself back. When literally, if you have a good idea, someone will give you the money, you borrow at 6%, but you're making 20, 30, 40% on the products that you sell. So you're actually profiting, right? So it's just something to think about that you could. And so like, again, my father-in-law, he could build out. He's a builder. He's a sawyer. He's a furniture maker. He can do everything. But he was like, he built his own shop. But he was like, I don't have it in me to do the concrete. I'm going to sub that out. Like he did the things that he could do and then farmed out everything else. Right.
Right.
So hold on. Something to think about. One is reframe your mind as it relates to this whole idea of saving. You know what I mean? Because like, if there's a great opportunity right now, and it's right now, it's a great opportunity that could get you to where you need to be. And it's literally right now in front of you. And all you got to do is maybe borrow it, put it on a credit card, and you'll make that money back. Or you wait 6 months, and you've missed out on that opportunity. Like time is now, right? So that's one thing. The second thing is think about how you could potentially do all this and make it a collaborative effort. so that it's not all on you. That's
Mhm.
another thing. So here's what I would do. Do you want to hear what I would do
Yeah,
if I
absolutely.
were
That's why
you?
I'm here.
Okay, this is it. And I don't actually recommend this to anybody, but you could
All
potentially
right.
do this. You can do this. I would, and I literally don't ever recommend this, but I totally would if I were you. I would document and build a brand around your house.
That's what I plan to do. That's already
So
the plan.
this is what I would do. I would create a brand around this house. I would start a YouTube. I would start an Instagram. I would start TikTok around this whole entire concept, literally this whole entire concept. And I would document every single day what I'm doing, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And connect with other makers and literally
Builders.
document the plan. So there's some frame of reference are who's doing this? What's her name? There's a woman named House of Esperanza. She is in Northern California. She's pretty amazing. Well, she bought a house, is what I believe, strictly for getting sponsorships and renovation. So she's a
Mhm.
maker, DIYer. And so that's what I would do on one hand. The other part is like April Wilkerson, the biggest YouTuber, DIYer, woodworker out there. She has like a wood shed in her house. Basically, she bought a house, she documented every single part of it, and as a result, built a massive audience,
Mhm.
right? Like, listen, you're 25, you said, right?
Yep.
Like, I would be all in on content creation, all in. And so the one hand, it is growing your audience and building a massive audience, and don't even care about the numbers. Just get into the process of creating. That's what I
Yeah.
would do, right? So like I just signed a lease. I just did this. I just bought this. And then you do time lapses and you show yourself building stuff. And then I would put together a proposal. I literally would put together the proposal. This is the thing that people don't tell you. People think you need to sweat it out and post all the time, post all the time, post all the time. And maybe hopefully the algorithms will get it. What you do with all of your savings is you pump it into ads. You pump it into building this brand. Listen, anybody that's listening to this right now can take this same idea and apply it to them, right? So I'm going to backtrack a little bit.
Mhm.
There's this guy. I'm not even going to say his name. There's this guy. He started this website, and the website was a blog, media blog, and there was like this charitable component to this blog, and he would raise money and he'd broadcast news. And anytime you read about the news, you can have a chance to donate to a charity, right? And he literally like created this machine. Again, everybody listening to this can do the same thing. And so let's just say you have $10,000,
Mhm.
or let's say you have $15,000 or 20,000, whatever your amount of money is, right? You could either live off of it, buy some tools and tool up and pretend like you got an audience, or no, pretend
Yeah.
like you have a business because you've tooled up, you got all of the tools, and then you're like, okay, I got all the tools. Now let's start a business. Or you could do this third way, is you can literally manufacture a hype machine for your brand. So this guy, what he ended up doing was he built this media property, because if you have a media property, you instantly get access to people, right? You get
Mhm.
access to people, get
All the
access to
advertising you
ideas,
need.
you get access to opportunities, you get access to everything, right? So what did he ended up doing? He kept leveraging that, and then next thing you know, he became an executive producer on a film, and then he got into virtual reality. And then one of his films that he executive produced, he met this other thing, and then he won an Oscar for the film. This is literally
Yeah.
within 3 years, 3, 4 years,
Yeah.
right? And then you want to know what ended up happening?
What?
He ended up selling that whole idea to like a major company and exited.
Yeah.
And
Like
I don't know if this is true, but I talked to a friend about it. I said, dude, I think he manufactured his own hype. I think he took a certain amount of money and said, you know what? I'm going to bet on myself. I'm going to bet on myself, and I'm going to make myself an influencer. I'm going to make myself this superstar entrepreneur. So that's what I'm telling you. I'm telling you, you're a young dude. You got skills, right? I would take whatever you have and literally manufacture. Your whole place could be paid for by sponsors, right? Your whole entire being, you just need to invest in yourself.
Right.
Bet on yourself.
Yeah. Bet on myself rather than just the house, just the build, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like there are people out there that are doing it, right? Like John Malecki does something like this a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Who else? April Wilkerson does something like this. Like, listen, I'm probably throwing them business right now, but I'd be like, I go to John Malecki, be like, John Malecki, can I pay for 2 hours of your time? I'll give you $1,000. I'll give you $2,000. April Wilkerson, I'll fly to you. I'll give you $3,000 if I can spend 2 days with you. You understand? Do you see what I'm saying? Like everybody, listen, I talk to a lot of people in my DMs. I talk to a lot of people, and there's this very small, and I'm not dissing. I love the Woodpreneur community. There's this preconceived notion that people need to save, sweat it out, bleed, fucking like die and do it all on their own.
Or they take out a loan. Yeah.
Before they take out a loan, before they ask for help.
Yeah. Yeah.
Meanwhile, rich people, dude, like I read somewhere that, you know, what's his name? Kim Kardashian, if she's got an idea, you know what she does? She calls people and she just has a bunch of meetings to learn about their business. And I'm sure she's paying them. You know, Gary Vee?
I think so.
So big time social media marketing influencer. What he ends up doing is like, he records conversations with people. He records consulting conversations like what I'm doing for you.
Yeah. Right.
And uses it as content. But the people that are sitting down with him, they're paying him like 30 grand for an hour. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway, that's what I would do. First thing is come up with the name for this project. You were in college, create a PowerPoint presentation, use your mechanical engineering to show your whole entire vision.
Right.
Start creating content and acting as if. You know who's a good example of all this? You ever seen those YouTube or those video channels of all those people? They're like, I'm renovating my RV, my van, and I'm going to fucking drive around the country.
Yeah, I did that.
It's the same concept. Same concept. You know, you already have the bones. Just go ahead and do it.
Yeah. So
is that helpful?
That is helpful. I do plan to, you know, maybe I will take out a loan after talking to you.
No, I'm not an accountant or a lawyer, but like,
no, I know. I know. Everything, you know, trust, but confirm, verify. So regardless of what I do, I'm going to build it. I'm going to get my name out there in doing so. The coolest part of the build will be that I am one guy that owns the land, that is going to own the house after it's built. And I'm going to do it basically all myself. Cause that's not something, you know, you see people documenting their entire build, but little, if ever, are they doing it all themselves. And I know very few people that can even do this, that have, you know, the background in framing and then also finish carpentry.
I totally understand the vision.
And I think that's why, while it's being built, I could get such a following. And I do plan to get a following. You know, I'm already taking a step now. I'm on this podcast talking.
I got you. You don't need to explain it. I understand the vision, which is why I started the conversation by saying loans and getting out hope. And remember, I asked you and I said, you're pretty set on how this is going to get done. And you said, yes. I said, okay, great. And as a coach, that's what I do. I meet people with where they're at. So therefore, like I said, I understand, you know, I coach lots of people and I understand like when people are set, then you adapt the strategy to where they're at. So like if you were my client, that's what I would tell you. I would say, do this. Do you trust me? Talking to you right now. Do you trust me, Landon?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Second thing is I believe that you can do this.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. The third thing is you got to do exactly what I say.
Okay.
That's if we were coaching,
Yeah.
if we were a client. Like, that to me is like, dude, that's what I would do. And part of it is like, you're not doing this until March. So you have between now and March to literally lay the groundwork, the bones, the brand.
So much planning.
The PowerPoint presentation, the reaching out to people.
Sketch up models.
Exactly. All of it. Create a whole plan. And I would figure out how to get your social media following between now and then to be bigger. Right? YouTube shorts. I would document your renovation right now.
Right. It's all been documented. I do plan on posting about it. It's just hard with the renovation because I'm having to jump around so much. I've been here for a month and I've completed one project. I've done.
Yeah. Because that's all part of the story. It's like, I'm in Fort Collins, saving money. You know what I mean? Like, it's all part of it. Don't wait. So I have also clients that do this. They're like, yeah, I created a bunch of stuff. I'm just waiting to post it. I'm like, no, post it now.
Post it now, yeah.
Post
and I
it
need to
now.
be better about
Why
that.
wait for something when you can do it now? There's a sense of urgency. Like, this is my last rant. And the rant is,
I love the passion. No ranting.
Here's the thing. Life is too short. And you got to do shit now. Like, life is too short. Like, I lost my pops a year ago. And I'm like, I know there was lots of things you want to do. And everybody always waits for the right conditions in order to doing. Like, man, 25 years old, bro, go all in. And if you fail, doesn't matter. You have many, many, many more years.
Lots of learning also is what you get out of it.
And even for my older folks, right? The 40-year-olds that are listening, listen, you could still bet on yourself. Ray Kroc, the dude that basically blew up McDonald's, right? He started when he was like 45. Ray Kroc, the McDonald's dude, like Colonel Sanders, the Kentucky Fried Chicken guy, he started when he was 51. You see what I'm saying? Like, we have many, many, many more years of success in front of us. And so anyway, I hope that's helpful, Landon. Yeah, I appreciate you sharing your story. So tell everybody what's your Instagram and your website.
So it's LK Custom Woodworking. Don't have a website yet. I'll definitely be getting on that before the build. But yeah, I'll be posting everything on the Instagram. I'll be a lot better about posting, kind of small steps here and there.
Yeah.
Just so you can follow along, because I think it's going to be something special. I know it's going to be something special. I did a van build, and that's on my Instagram. Cool. I was very good about posting, where I was at and updates and stuff. And I was blown away by the involvement and by how interesting.
Your work is nice, man. Yeah. Your work is super nice. You could have a little empire on you right now.
Yeah, I want to build a brand. I don't necessarily want to just be this, I don't ever want to be a manufacturer of furniture. I want to be custom. And I do want to scale, but I want to scale my brand and not necessarily the size of the business.
Cool.
But I'm excited to start another big project and have people follow along that are interested. And I need to be better about showing people that they can follow along and getting people interested in it at the beginning. So
awesome, man. Well, reach out and keep in touch and let us know how things go. All right.
Absolutely, Steve. Thanks again.
All right. Take care. Thanks so much for listening to the Woodpreneur podcast, the #1 podcast for the business and marketing side of the lumber, woodworking, hardwood, flooring, and sawmill industry. If you like what you heard, please give us a 5-star rating and review. You can also tap into our community by visiting woodpreneurlife.com. Once again, that's woodpreneurlife.com. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next episode.